weird, isn't it? Oh.
All right.
Hi,
Oh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very good, thanks.
I gather you're not a soccer fan?
Soccer, I got it. I got the TVs all going,
Okay, all right, thanks.
but
Well,
this is more important.
yes, I agree. Okay, so we're meeting for 90 minutes today?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had some questions for me, and I have a few questions for you before we get into building. I think that we can start building today. But let me pull up the questions you sent me.
Okay, so those, I didn't even realize those questions were in until
Oh,
you sent me back. I put them down there and noted them, and then
Are they
we'll go through them. I might have answers already for them.
okay? So why don't I throw them up on the screen so you can actually see what
Okay.
I'm looking at. So building your tables, linking your records, sending emails based on switcher logic.
Okay,
What
that
are
will-
extensions?
Yeah, I had a promo version, and then they said you'd use too many extensions. I hadn't added any extensions, so I don't know where they came from.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, here's extensions. They look like this on the side. You can, add extension. And then just add. Did you do any of that?
Not that I know of.
All right.
I don't remember doing that. I was moving around a bit, but
Okay, that's fine. All right, so extensions, what are extensions? Are you interested in knowing what extensions are?
not yet.
Okay. Difference between forms and views. So it's the exact same data, just laid out in a different way. As an example, we'll go back here. So I have this form. I have projects, all this information. Let's go to collaborations. This is all the data in one table that I've decided to put here. I have this form and I could pull any of the data from that table and nothing else. I could remove it. Like I don't need to see it in the table, in the form. But essentially any data that I'm collecting in this form, the promo window I've given them, that is matched to promo
Okay.
windows.
Okay.
So same exact data, different view. And
So that's
forms allow you to import the data into the grid view.
a form that you import.
So let's just start from scratch. So demo. Actually, okay. I don't know what's taking so long. So maybe I'll close some things. Leave.
You're just like me. Lots
Yeah.
and
Oh
lots
my
of windows
God.
open all the time.
So goofy. I should know better. Well, I don't know why that's not working. All right, so we created a new table.
So the grid view will always come up as a grid view though, right?
Grid view, by default, there's always a grid view and nothing else. You always need at least one grid view. So now we have a brand new table name. Let's make this a context table. So we have first name, we got last name, we've got email. So as an example, now we have, and this, I'll just make a formula to grab the first and last name. So concatenate means like string the first name, some space, and last name together. Okay, so then we can create a form. And this is, and you'll see first, last, email. And the primary field didn't show up because it's a formula. You can't type anything into it. So now you can open this form. You can share it if you want someone to fill out information. So Jess Kotzer, hello at Jess Kotzer. So if I submit this, so that's the form. Now we'll see that information is in this table. And I can't add, if I add another field to this form. So add extra whatever. So now it's like, okay, we have this extra field, right? That is now going to show up in our table. So in one table, any different views you have, it's all the same data and you're just looking at it in a different style.
Okay, so the form is just to make your data entry a little easier.
Yeah, so you can either use it, like you can use it when you're on a call with somebody and just take some notes. So they're already a contact. Now you can track the conversation with some notes, or you can send people a form. You can use these internal forms and say, hey, Bobby Sue, here's the information that I need from you, and then get them to fill out this information. And you could even hide fields like their email so that it is always just lined up with them. So you can use it to collect email from other people, or you can use it as an internal form.
So if I send this form to them, what would it come up as at their end?
It would come up like this. So you can remove the branding. You could add your own branding. Let's just add, I don't know, Samco Miko. Find your logo. Add a little background or not. And now the form looks a little more professional. You can add text up here. You can also use other things. You don't need to use these forms, but I do like, because it is a pretty basic looking form, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that you can ask for things like headshots, images, videos by having fields, like attachment fields. You can ask for all sorts of information here, right? URLs, company name and address. Yeah, there's all sorts of information you can add here. And then you can even create things like there's weird extensions, and it's just coders think of different ways that you can power up your Airtable. So an example.
Okay then. All right, we'll save some of those for later. We'll get the basics
Okay.
today.
Okay, let's go back to your questions. So, do you need to pay for Airtable to build a form? No. And you can have as
It doesn't matter anymore anyways. I bought the
Okay.
program.
Okay. Can you help me put this together quickly? Yeah. I can replace my CRM with this. Yeah. Difference between records per base and records per table. Base just means all the records,
Okay, then so
in every table.
so when it says 50,000, it'll add up all the records in every table, and that's your number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So,
So I've loaded my data.
do you want to share your screen?
Okay. Walk me through that, please.
So there's a green button below
Share
your,
screen, I guess.
yes.
And then basic advanced files, or just do desktop.
Desktop is fine.
Sure. Open system preferences, allow Zoom to share your screen. Okay. Security and privacy. Allow the apps below to record the contents of your screen, not really caring about recording it. I'm not sure what to do next here, Jess.
So you're in basic and you could pick a screen to share and there's a few options left for you to click on or not.
Okay. Screen recording. That'd be the one I would choose.
Screen recording. No, we're just sharing screen right now. So are you in the green button settings?
Just a minute here. We're going to try this
Okay.
again. Okay. So share screen. And then it says share desktop. So that's what I'll share with you.
Yes.
Desktop. Allow Zoom to share your screen. It's either
Yeah.
cancel or open system preferences.
Okay, let's open system preferences.
Okay. And now I have all these security and privacy options. It says
So
privacy.
if you have a remote screen controlling option, if you see anything like that, then I would leave that on. And everything else, it doesn't really matter. Or you can just proceed with whatever.
That's the
settings
thing,
you-
though. I can't find anything to hit to say proceed.
Oh, that's very strange.
Share screen. Why
Maybe you
won't
need to
I-
click on one thing. Maybe it's like a
iPhone?
terms.
Oh, someone got me to do this before, but I didn't get that. Cancel. Share. Okay. Do.
There's another button below your screen called security. Closer to the left, there might be some settings you can turn on from there. Do you have a security button? Maybe because I'm the host, I only have it.
Do you have to make me the host to share my screen?
I
I think
don't
that's,
think so, but I will make you co-host. That's a good idea. So now you're co-host.
yeah, let's try it again. Share. Okay, I didn't get all that extra stuff. Do you have my screen?
Not yet.
Launch meeting, allow. All participants, who can share? Host only, all participants. Okay, you've done that. So share screen, share. Oh my God, why?
I'll ask Google. We don't need to have a hard stop at 4:30 if this takes a little bit of time. Why can't I share my screen? Restart your device, uninstall the app. Oh, no. You need to allow Zoom access to screen recording to share your screen. You know what? I'm going to turn off. I'm going to pause Zoom recording. So this is where extensions actually come in really handy when you have fields where you want to merge them. we can add an extension called deduplicate, dedupe. Is that the one I want? There's merge. Yeah, okay, we'll go with this one.
Hey, can you go
There's-
back? I was writing when you went into that. I want to see what you did here.
So this is how it looked before.
Yeah,
Now
okay.
there's an icon called extensions, and we can
Okay.
add extensions. And there's all sorts of interesting things we can add to your base. So there's one called dedupe. So we can add this, and it's made by Airtable, so there's no integration needed. But now we are in, what's our table called? Limo coins? The one that we're,
Limo companies, yeah.
okay. So fields for duplicates. Records are considered duplicates if they have matching cells in all of these fields. So we don't need to look at the name. We need to look at probably the name, plus we want to make sure the address is exact. So there's a few fields that are exact. Province, maybe postal code. So now you can start making sure all of these need to be the same, and then you'll delete one.
Okay, so it's coming up with it. So it'll automatically put the data to the right. Is that what it's
Yes,
doing?
so we can see all the fields that are duplicates. So there's a lot of. So it actually looks like
It's
you
just-
got them all, but I don't think that is true. Because I saw two that look the same. So if we look at less fields, so we have a few here. These two have the exact same address.
Right. I don't know if I
And-
don't know what he calls his company.
247 here,
And-
247 C7.
I don't know if that's a typing error or if he calls that. So I just haven't called him yet.
Okay. So we got a couple duplicates here. Air cab, limousine head office versus Sahabi limousine.
There's my dilemma with these Toronto companies. These guys will have like 4 different companies, then they have the same phone number, different addresses. It's just,
It's weird.
I'm just ignoring them for now. I clean them up as I talk to somebody.
Okay.
What do you have as duplicate on there on the left?
I think it's just street address. That's the only one I have. So you can just
That's,
search by that.
you did extensions and then you did DEDUP.
Yeah, it's called dedupe. And now this is the
Dupe.
part, as long as you don't delete extension, you can just look at this extension from this base for as long as you want it in here.
That's cool, because like I can just put the phone number on and see which ones are using the same phone number.
Yeah,
So if you just hit phone number,
phone one.
yeah,
So some of them are gonna show up this as the same, I gather, because
but how do you know which ones have the same phone number? Oh, that says 2 records.
yeah, so 2 records here, 2 records here.
Okay, so you got
1,055. Oh, so there's
so
1,055 empty records. That's
yeah,
why it's all the same.
Yeah. So go back up a bit. No, the other side on the right.
Yep.
Okay, so what it's saying here is Bright Limo and Dial a Limo both have the same number, and I can see that.
Mhm.
Perfect. Okay, then I can go in there and start editing those two.
Yes. And I guess the conundrum is if you merge these fields, what's the name you go with? And it doesn't even matter because it's the same guy on the other end.
I can work with figuring that out. He might have called this company a Bright Limo 10 years ago, changed it to Dial a Limo.
Mm.
Because I actually know the guy who owns that one, Costa.
Okay.
So, okay. All right. That is an awesome tool, that is.
Mhm. Do you
Okay,
want to
then.
get rid of these?
Yeah, we can get rid of those.
Okay. So we can do that by clicking one, scrolling up to where they end. Oh, okay. And I'm going to hold shift down and then click. And now I can delete all of these. And these are definitely all
They're just
okay.
I was goofing with the file, so okay,
Okay.
so you did you clicked the check and then shift on top file. So
By the
it's
way,
just like Excel there. You just do hit this copy one.
Yeah.
So it's like Excel.
and also I'm recording this. So you're welcome to rewatch this recording as well.
Okay then. Okay.
And something else you can do if you're interested is you can group these.
I played with the groups today. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
That
And
was
we
good.
can make different grid views as well. So here we can just do Canada if you wanted to, or just do Niagara region because you're hyper focused on that, right? And here we can filter to make sure that country is Canada. So now you can start looking at your data that's just on Canada. And you can also start hiding fields if you want. If in certain views you just need name, phone number, address, so you can power dial a bunch of people, then you can do that as well.
Yeah. So
Okay.
when you do creative view, then you
Mhm.
give it a name, and then you go and you say hide the fields that you don't want.
Yeah.
How do you know when it's saved to start using? Do you know what I mean? Like when your view is saved and you're not like hiding fields anymore or anything like that. That doesn't make sense to you, does it?
Can you rephrase the question?
So you just created Canada, create another one, just say Toronto.
Okay. So we're going to create a view. Toronto. So in this case, we're going to filter by, what is it, region,
It would be community. Up a
community
bit. Community.
is Toronto. So this view is just saved like this. If I hide a couple fields and I
Oh, that's
exit
easier.
later and I come back, those fields are still going to be hidden.
Right.
So I need to, it's just always auto saved the way that you
Okay.
leave it. That's why I like to have one field that's you just know, or you call it raw data, so that's where you never ever hide things. So this field, whenever you create new fields in other views, you have a raw data field where all the new fields always show up, but I can create a view here. I can create another field in the raw data view, but it won't show up in my filtered views because Airtable just knows that I'm very particular about this view. You can even hide all, which I love, and then just bring in the couple fields that you really need.
So if I create another field in the master view, all those views, I have to go into those to add that field if I wanted in that view.
Yeah, so let's make sure that I have
That
this
makes
right.
sense. Okay.
So if we hide all, and then we go here, I'll make it and then delete it. Test. We go here, it doesn't show up.
Okay.
But if we create test 2 here, because, this is not a raw data view, so it's not going to show up here either, because we see there's hidden fields here. But if ever you want, if you forgot to have a raw data view, just click grid. And whenever you create a new view from here, it's going to be raw data. All the fields will show up. I'm going to delete this. And I will delete this. Okay, so you can hide all, you can show all. And you can single select here.
Okay. Can we go to the very last field?
Okay,
It's the field isn't there.
what field are you looking for?
I was looking for last update.
Last update.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to look for it in here.
I thought it was the very last field.
It's right here. I can actually drag it all the way to the last field. So now it's right here.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So I wanted to make an automation that whenever a field in that row is updated,
Mhm.
that it would update the last update date.
Okay.
So if I was on that row that's starting with like 117,4708, if I edited any information on there, today's date would come in the last update field.
So instead of having a dates field, there's something called last modified time. And we can even say only update this if we modified specific fields, or we can just have the date change whenever something changes. So I can type in something here,
Oh,
and then this should be updated. So we don't need to do much in terms of automation here. And
okay.
it looks like we're set in Eastern time, which is good for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So go on the field properties of that one,
Yes, edit
then-
fields.
and then that's last modified time. Perfect. Wow, that's so simple.
I know. Yeah.
That's so good. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so so what I did with this one here is if you keep going to the sliding your fields over, I play with the field, so I haven't gone back and kind of put the proper field types on because I was flipping my data in and out a few times.
Okay.
So if you keep coming over, I have where is it? Keep going.
So like phone number.
Yeah, if you go all the way over, I think I have a limo board status. LB status, might be even right after the names.
LB status,
Yeah.
these ones, looks
Yeah.
like they're off. So I'd have to turn them on to find them. And then I'll look at it like this. So I have a good idea of where they are in here. So they are before country. Here we go.
There we go.
There's LB.
So those fields are linked to my limo board
Contact diary.
contact diary, which is really cool. So then when I go in there and so this is when I'm phoning and emailing these companies.
Yeah.
I can just put the data into there. So I've linked, so the company name is linked back to limo companies.
Mhm.
And then whenever I change the status and the date, it will put those two statuses and the status and the date into the main file for me.
Okay, so
And
LB status date, what does, this is a,
so that one there, now I know how to change the date. So whenever I change the LB status, whenever I change something in that record, that date will change.
And what is LB status? This is
Well,
like.
limo,
that
LB
state.
is limo board.
Okay,
I'm just trying to keep the column heading short. And then, so the limo board status would be, are you a member of my, okay, are you paying me to run my software? Am I still calling you? Are you not interested? Whatever my statuses are as I go through my phone calls.
cool.
And then I can set my current phase so that the next group of people I'm going to start calling, I can do that. So now I know how to change that date. And then the call dates would be the date that I actually phone them. And then I got a
Okay.
field where I can set call. So the callback date and callback time. After I created the template, you can put those all into one field. How do I get a reminder when that date and time comes? So if I put in there Monday at 9 a.m.,
Yeah,
how would I get a reminder that it tells me to call them?
so we can create an automation for that easily, but I have a question before we build that out.
Okay.
Are you manually adding callback dates? And do you have an idea of when you would call back? Because if you know, like, I'm gonna call the first call will be day 0, the next call will be day 1, the next will be day 4, etc. Then we could also
No,
map this out a little differently.
this is all pretty random. Like
Okay,
I phoned like 100 people and like there was like 6 of them. Oh, the owner's on holidays. He's not back to this date. If you call in the morning, this will be best. And then another guy says, call me tomorrow afternoon at 3. So it's not automated.
okay, so if we're gonna do it this way, then we have call date.
So that'd be
One,
the date that I called them the first time on. So what I'm finding is some people I've got to call like 4 times, and after the 4th time I called them, it's like, okay, I'll set the status at pain in the butt. We'll talk to them in a year from now.
okay, let me think about this. So this LB status is just the last time you talked to them, right?
Well, no, what status they actually are on. So I could be on, I haven't put all the statuses in, but I could be in the middle of calling them, or I could be emailed them, or they could be uninterested, they could be interested, whatever. After the phone call is whatever's gonna happen.
Sorry, but what does this mean? Is this just if this status changes to something else, then this date changes?
Yeah, whenever I set the status, I'm gonna change that date.
Okay, so I'm gonna automate this quickly. So we're going to do the last modified time again, but only if
That changes,
LB status.
right?
So now you don't need to touch that. And we're changing the way this information registers. So we're going to
Perfect.
do it
So,
like this. And we don't need the time, right? We can leave that out.
yeah, the time doesn't need to be in there.
Okay. So with your calls, just as okay, so we're going to change all of these to date fields, right? We want this to be
Yeah,
a date.
Yeah.
Okay,
then-
so
I was called them all friendly.
friendly calls.
That's but that's fine. Yeah, I've been through that file 6 times, I think. So I just didn't finish putting them all, changing their types again.
Yes.
Because you can change them here, or when you import them, you can change them.
I didn't know you could change the field types when you import them.
Yeah.
Okay. Call back. This is another date. Okay, so we have these call dates. So I'll delete this information, but just as an example, we have call 1 here. Maybe you called this person a long time ago. Call to is here. So, and let's do a call 3 here. Okay, so you had one call with someone, you had a few calls with other people here. Callback date, is this callback date 5?
No,
Callback date.
that's just when they wanted me to call them back at.
Okay.
So that one there we can combine as one field, and I can delete the time field. And that gives me a time to call them back at.
So callback date and callback time. Oh, right, because
I didn't realize when I was doing my template how it worked.
so callback. So now you just have this field here where you can add the time here and we can delete this, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to kind of visualize how I would structure this if you keep it with this format. So we could have a like to do this week as an example. And here you could have filters so that with any of those dates or dates, call 1, 2, 3, 4 dates 4 is within or on or before, but I'd say it's within the next number of days. And then you're only going to see things that you have to do this week as an example. So you could do is within, is within, and basically do 7 or whatever makes sense for you. And then this is where you can kind of live in and make sure that you're only looking at what is next. The only thing I don't like about the way you have this set up, one thing I like, okay, first off about the setup is that it's super simple. You have one row for each person. Some of them you'll call once, some of them you'll call 4 times. It doesn't really matter. And we can make sure that once you've made an agreement with them, they just are hidden. You know, we can filter people out. We can make sure we've filtered people in who you've made agreements with. But I would love to be able to sort this by dates. And here, I just don't know which date to sort by, you know? So I'm wondering, there's probably a formula we could use to just pull all these dates together.
Okay, so I was looking at this as historical, not future. So we could just to do what you're saying, we could even put another field in there and just say planned calls. And then I could put the dates in when I'm planning on calling them. And then, because I was only using this as historical.
Oops. Right. What are you using for project management for you to, is there another table? Or
no, what I did was I just dumped some stuff in a spreadsheet, and then I dumped spreadsheet into another formula, and then I printed some paper, and then I took the papers with me to make my phone calls and made notes on them. So this here is a lot, well, obviously it gives me way more flexibility.
so you could do something like this. I kind of want to show you an alternative that you can take or leave.
Okay.
But instead of messing around with my own base, let's start from scratch. So as an example, we might have names of people, Bob, John, and their emails. Oops, email. So Bob, John, And then this is contacts. Then we have another field where you basically, the journey you have with people, your touch, your pitch points, let's call them pitch points. And you have call 1, call 2, call 2, call 3, call 4. And each one of these has a date. And status. Status is fine too. The status would be like answered no, answered yes. I know that's spelled wrong, but just for time, answered yes. Call back. Okay. So now we can do something called junction tables. And when you have a junction table, you'll be able to created, or let's do date. When you have a junction table, you can make sure. So with call 1, it's always going to be. All right. Let me delete that. We want to basically have a place for you to merge these two fields together so that every call gets its own row with that one person. So we can link contacts with your other table, link to another record, your pitch points table. And again, there's extensions in the Airtable. So here we can do junction, create a junction table. And I'm recording this, so this is going to move a little fast. But basically, first table name is called table 1. That's our context table. I forgot to name. Table 2 is pitch points. Junction table. This is the third table. I've already linked both those tables to junction. Now we can pick a field, link record to first table. I want to link to name. Second junction field, name. I didn't change the names of the primary fields. Now, if I run this, first junction field can't be the same as this. Oh, let's go back. What's happening here? Edit. Table 1, first table name, second junction, first junction. Oh, I see, link and link. So let's rename these so it's clear. Link to table 1, so that's contacts. And link to table 1, this is the pitch points. That makes more sense. Contacts. So we're making sure we're linking contacts there, and we're linking pitch points here. We can run this script, and whoever is in your context table, we're going to make sure that they're going to show up here. So you have to make call 1, and now all the dates are in one field. And then if they actually, and this is where you can say like status, right? Status and single select. So if they agree or call back, something like call back. That way, you know exactly who to call here, in what order you need to call them. And it doesn't matter if it's call 1, 2, or 3. Like it matters, like it matters here. And then you don't know. Then you have to constantly update this to, look at all these, see what the latest date is. Whereas here, if I could find what I'm looking for. Here, the dates are just sorted. So like it doesn't matter if it's call 3 or call 1. And essentially we'll just filter out the any status that says,
So and then this information is filtered back to the junction.
yeah, we're in the junction table, but it's filtered back to contacts, so we can see here every touch point you've made with this person. So in junction, now we can actually look up the person so that if, let's say, agree. So basically we can make it so that if they've agreed at call 1, remove call 2, 3, 4. I don't need to build that out right now unless you're interested in this structure instead. And then all the dates are organized in a way that for you, I can automate an email to you every week on Sunday with the calls for the week in the order that you want to call people. But if you prefer this other layout, this is okay too. This way, everybody is in one row, so there's a lot less information to look at. But then you're not really tracking it back to the contacts in the same way that you would be here. Where table 1, you see it's all linked here, basically. Yeah. So that's an option for you to use a junction table extension. Otherwise, let's see if I could do. Otherwise, there's probably a formula that I don't know off the top of my head right now that I could probably look up. So basically find the dates in all these fields and then add the latest date here. That's probably something I can do as well.
Yeah, if we did, well, if you had that modify that one field we're using for the updated date, you can use multiple fields, right? So
If multiple fields for these.
So like for that, I see what you're doing. You got planned calls.
So this is just so for you to be like, okay, it looks like the last time I talked to them is this. So I'm going to add that date here. I'm going to add this date here.
Did you just do a control C?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Um,
that requires a little bit of manual work, and I'm not entirely sure how I would do this, but it might be a roll up field.
What's a roll up field? Is that counting?
Yeah, so a roll up field in this case, it looks like I can't. Okay, so you have to link records, and once you link, you can look up things from that other record. You can also count things, or you can roll up max values. So as an example, limo coys, we are linked already to company name. So
actually, if you want, I have a place where I want to do a count. I had that as a question.
Okay.
So if you go to limo companies, very first one. No, limo associations, my fault.
Okay.
And then the third one in says number of members.
Yep. So
Well, you know what? We have to. We have to fix something first.
Yes. So we can look up number of members if you've linked limo associations to members. This table, I believe.
Okay,
So,
those last 4 tables.
Yep.
Are going to end up being just one table. There's no need for 4. So if you can go to OLA, activity 2. Okay. What happened was, go to sheet 1 just for a second. To the right, yeah. Okay. If you see the company names are all in colors,
Mhm.
and then the company name beside them are, I brought the data in like that. And the other one, I've got a formula now, so that when I'm building them, I don't have to type them in like that. Okay, so if we go back to OLOA activity, I tried to build that formula and it deleted all my data.
What formula?
So like, if you go to company name, so the very
Oh,
second
oh,
column.
oh. Sorry. Company name.
So if you go, that's well, it was a formula in there. But
Now it's a linked record.
yeah, so I want it to be, in the end, I want it to be a linked one. So whenever I add anybody to this file, it adds them. But I have almost 1,000 rows of data.
Mhm.
As soon as I build the link, it wipes it all out. It took all my, see, I don't have the data in there. If you go to sheet 1, all my data is there. But as soon as I make it a
Right.
linked field, it wipes all my data out. And I
Is
have,
it spelled exactly
oh, it's
the
spelled, it's the
same?
same, yeah, it's the same information. But because I guess when you put that data in there, it wasn't linked in the first place. It might not know, it might not have the right data in there. It has a lost link.
Is it spelled, so company name, it
Oh,
needs to be spelled exactly the same as
It's spelled, yeah, like,
this field.
okay,
Okay.
so go to OLOA activity and see how that one is. St. Lawrence Limousine Services Inc., Toronto, Canada.
Yes.
Click, I don't know why classic's in there. We can just X that out.
Okay.
It must be on the wrong row. And then if you go to sheet 1, that's the same data right there.
I think it's a little different. Copy. OLA.
Oh, he's a Toronto one.
So it's different if you look at, so we have,
He changed his address. Barter. They do
so
that every once in a while. They'll send me one time they send me an update and they say we're in Mississauga. They're in the same address, and the next time they tell me they're in Toronto. Okay, so I can fix that part, but what I can't fix is how do I bring that 1,000 lines of data over
mhm.
and then be able to add to that with my formula as a linked field
Mhm.
without having to reproduce all that data?
Okay, so we have OLA.
Yeah,
And
Ontario Limousine Association is what it is.
okay, so what we need to do is set up an automation in here. I'm going to create a new one. We'll name it after, but we want to, when, let's say one record matches a condition, or one record matches a condition. So it's the ALOA activity. And what is a piece of data that's always the same? This is the tricky bit. Okay. Because you have people in there who are in your contacts in multiple places, do you want to just
So
link multiple?
the small, well, right now, there's no duplicate companies, so I'm okay for this start point. Like the company name at this time, not the long name with the brackets, is the same as that's in the limo company master data. Does that make sense?
Aren't some of the companies, they
So
have the same name though?
no, not right now.
Okay, So these are all unique.
Yeah, and the ones that are gonna match, like the ones that are in OLOA already, won't have duplicates in the master.
Okay.
Um,
So basically I want to say find data in one table that's the same in the other table, link those tables. That way, as you add, it will auto link for you that this field is just going to be blank when you import data, and then Airtable will fill it in for you. So
and then once
if
it fills it in, can we change it back so that we use that field for bringing in the data?
can we change this field, or what are
Okay,
we changing
so,
back?
Go to one called LB referrals.
Okay.
So if I click on limo company long,
Mhm.
right, then I can choose any of the companies.
Yes,
I can pick any of them all. That's the way I want that other one to work in the long run.
that's the way you want this field to work.
That's how I wanted that. So I want to be able to do it in the long field, click on that, and then it would populate the rest of it. But with the data that I've already got, I don't want to have to retype all the data in.
No. Okay, so all right, let's do this. So company name and company name here. So we want to just avoid having this field altogether. So automation 2, let's just say when a record is created in the Aloha. So classic limo. As an example, we are going to find a record in Limacoys where the company name, it needs to exactly match.
It would have to be not the company name long, it just has to be the company there.
Okay.
There's a company name long is blank right now.
Okay. So it needs to contain, and we need this to be dynamic so that we can say it needs to contain something similar to Aloha, something similar to an Aloha record. And it's this one, the single select field.
Yeah.
Now, actually, it's going to be this, it will be in the future, this field, because we want to get rid of this field, right? So just to pretend, we're going to get rid of that. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, so it needs to be a single select field, and it will be name. So when the name is the name, we're going to test it. We found something that matches. Now we are going to update the record. Select the table in Aloha. And we want to base it off record ID. This way, we're never going to make mistakes here. And that's just a unique ID that is made in the background of Airtable. And it will be for company name. And now we're going to find the record ID of the other table. So if we generate a preview, we see classic limo. Classic limo would be added like that. So run a test. And this way, this will always be added like this. And I would just hide this field. So keep it, but hide it. So it's there, but you don't need to worry about it. And this is the view you could look at. Sorry, I don't know if you wanted it condensed. Does that make sense? It's kind of confusing because I'm focusing on record IDs, but that way, in
Right.
case there's two things spelled the same, you avoid putting your information in the wrong place.
And then once we build out the long name though, can I save it and then make it the long name like all the other tables where I'd be just working with the one in the company name with the city, province, and country in it? I don't think I asked that question correctly.
Is it limo? Should I go to limo companies? Is that where you're talking about it? This one?
So right now I have the long name.
Yeah.
And then I just have the company name. So
Yeah.
in my OLOA data.
Yeah.
I want the same thing.
Okay, so we're going to look it up. Oh, company.
Well, the
Long
data,
name, right?
so I know how to do this for new records. I just want to capture the old records so I don't have to retype 1,000 records in. Like just like
So
as
not,
soon as I go and make that field a link field, it wipes out all the data.
so not like this. You don't want to just look it up.
So that's it's two fields that are the same, right?
So
They're just named
company,
differently. They're the same field, just two different names on them.
okay, so we need this field. Where's classic? Classic. So company name classic versus. Okay, so you want to just, it looks like the long field is being imported. We want to bring in the short name, right? So we'd actually want,
See this, the original, like if you go to, let's go to sheet 1 for a second.
okay,
Go to sheet 1.
yeah,
That's the data I want when I'm done. And then whenever I want to add another record, I will go into the second field there with the city, province, and country. And I would click on that, and then it would add all the rest of the fields to the right. I can just do the lookups on them, and it brings them in. But when I go to create that link on that field, it wipes out all the data.
we're talking about this field, right?
Yeah, so if I make that my link field, like I have in all my other tables, I have that field as the link table. When I make that a link table,
Oh,
it deletes all those records.
okay,
And
so,
I end up with what you see in OLOA activity. That's what I ended up with when I did the link.
mhm.
I just manually added those two companies in.
So we want, essentially, we need more information than this. We need street, province,
But all
postal
that
code,
data is sitting in limo companies into the limo companies.
but it's also here, right?
No. Where are you? Oh, you're in
Oh,
limo companies there.
okay, so what I would do then, a little tedious, but create a few lookup fields. I'm gonna duplicate. And then we bring in street address, we bring in the various fields here. And then we can create a formula to merge it all together. And then you could hide all the, street address line 1, street address line 2, city, postal code, because you'll have,
But if I'm gonna add any more records to that field, then I have to put that data in there, do I not? Or is it gonna pull it in from
no.
limo companies?
So it's automatically, we've created an automation so that this is linked now to limo companies, which means that,
I've lost all my other data.
no, it means
Oh.
that we're gonna have address. Let's say call it line 1. We're gonna look up. Oops, no, we're gonna look up from there. Street address. We're going to look up other things. Do you have an address line 2?
No, well, I do, but there's no data in it.
Okay, so we'll look up city, or is it
Community.
city community? So we look up all these different fields and I can keep going, but now we can bring that's all being looked up. You don't need to type it in again. And then we could create a formula if you want to have this recreated where,
Right, okay, so that works now when you do that. Now I want to add a record.
okay,
So when I have to add a new record, where do I pull the name from?
so if you want to add a new record in here, the way we have it set up right now is you'd import data. So let's say you're importing a CSV and the company name is this. So let's just turn this on to see this in action. So you're importing data into this table, and one of the fields, oh, that's a lookup field. Oh, where did I actually? Oh, I hit it, right. I hit the field. So one of the fields is, let me scroll to the bottom to create a new one. So as an example, except armor. Exec armor, company name is exec armor. Why is that not showing up there? So when, oh, because it's not a new record. We have it set up as a new record. When I'm not crazy about key. Oh, this is an app thing, right?
I just did that as an automated number because I don't really need that one.
Okay.
And I can't do lookups on it. Can't use it as I wanted to, so I put the auto number when it didn't make sense to put data in it.
So maybe I think because the record is already created and then I go back and add this, it's not working. So I'm going to change this to when record matches a condition. So in the OLOA, when the name is not empty. Okay. Now let's try this again. So we create a record, it has a certain condition, and all the information just shows up here because we've auto linked it to the companies table. And then we can look up any information from Limocoys. I know I'm not saying I know you don't say Aloha and Limocoys, but
Well, COIS is
saying
just
Limo.
a short form for company.
That makes sense.
And that way there, I can keep more tabs on the top when I see the things.
Yeah. So now you have that automation. You don't need to type in any information ever again. You can keep look up the first name of the contact from there, look up anything you want from the limo companies table. Then when you when you import 1,000 records into this table with all of these company names, they will auto link. You don't ever need to link them. Once in a while, you might need to because of human error. Maybe for some reason they're not spelled the same. And in that case, we can just create another view for like if link doesn't exist, and that's where you would investigate and type it in.
All right. Okay. Can we go into, let me see, let me just go through my questions in my head here for a
Sure.
second.
I'm gonna
Membership type members also send an email, etc. Okay, this we went here because we were going to do in that table. I would be putting the associations that everybody belongs to. So I have to add one more field to that.
to this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you add a field and then auto populate it with a value? for everybody?
Yes. So let's see if I understand you correctly. So
So just say,
this like auto number?
no, it would just call the field association,
Yep.
okay? And then it's just that one there would be, just say single line text, that'll be fine.
Okay.
And then can we put a value into every record? The same value in every record?
Oh, in that case, we'd actually want to make this a formula. And then type in the value you want here.
Right, but this is just one time thing.
But is it the same for everything?
Just the data that's sitting there. Once I start using it, there's like 50 different associations. This is just to populate the data. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll just
Oh,
put it into my Excel and then just re-import it.
okay.
But like, is there a way to, to take 10 records and make them all like one of the fields the same value?
Can you give me an example of what would be in row? Yeah, like row 425 and 426.
In the association, they both be the same.
And all of these will be the same. All
Just for that data that I've imported, those 1,000 records,
okay.
because I already had it. Now I'm going to start putting into there when I find
Okay.
people in other associations.
I see. So
Like, is there anything to copy the record? Just dump a value into them and then not do that ever again. The value is static.
yeah, so if you're importing, association 1 all in one go, then
Okay, I'll do it during the import then.
yeah, because I assume sometimes you'll import a bunch for association 1, but then other times it'll all be association 2.
Okay,
So
so
there's-
can you just put in a couple fields in there, just OLOA,
OLOA.
just as the value of like the data.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna make this would you like a single select? And then we can do it like this?
Yep.
Okay.
Or if I do a multi-select and I have that they belong to 3 different associations, when I do a sum, it'll still find the 3 different ones that are in, it'll add 1 to each of the 3 different ones, correct?
Yeah, so association where we all, so then we can go in here. Let's see, count number of associations. We can roll up because they're already linked. Or, sorry, we can count. Activity. What are we counting?
That new field you just did.
Where is this what I'm trying to do? So associations. No, I don't think this is right.
So did you put OLOA in a couple fields?
I put, oh, let's see.
So go
That's a
into
good question.
OLOA activity. And then into that association, just type OLOA into 3 or 4 fields. There.
Okay, and now let's also make sure one has extra.
Okay,
St. Lawrence and Classic.
that's fine. Now go to limo associations.
Oh, sorry, I'm just checking to see how the data shows up. Okay, so Classic has 1 association here. Is that sort of what you're looking for?
Yeah, so that's fine.
Okay, let
So
me
if
just
you-
confirm St. Lawrence has 2. Saint. St. Lawrence, we got 1, so this is not. Okay, so that's wrong, I believe. Let's try roll up. Roll up. Hola. And this is association max values. This is what we want. So no, that's not what we want. I need to
I
get
see a
back to you on
problem
that.
already. Okay, if you've got OLOA in those two, you've got them in those two fields right now.
Mhm.
Can we just go into limo associations?
Yeah.
And then number of members.
Mhm.
And then if we go down to OLOA, it's number 15.
When we go down to
Row
OLOA.
number 15.
Oh, I see. Yes,
I guess when you put the formula in, it just puts it into all of them anyways, right?
actually,
So
so this,
when we do number of members, we would do in OLOA, the number of times you see in OLOA,
Mhm.
first column, count how many times you see that number, right?
yes, and actually, now that I've seen that, what we'd need is to make this a link to your associations table. Allow linking to multiple records. So now they're linked like this, and that is going to reflect better in here. So now we can, let's see. Max values, maybe it's sum of values. What's going on? Or,
That's not where I want to put that field though.
right, so let's go limo associations? Is that where
Correct.
you want the, okay,
Yep.
so,
And then we've got the field already set up. Number of members.
right. So now we want this, let's try a roll up.
Okay,
Let's try,
so it'd be
Association.
association.
and let's do, I'm
Sum.
gonna try 2. Sum is probably right. Aloha,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
max didn't work. So it should be some.
that
mean-
didn't work either. Association,
But that's how you do it. You do what you do with a roll up.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll play with that one. I wanted to get to how I create an email.
Okay, so
So
I'm
that-
guessing you would use
the contact diary.
the contact diary. So we have this information here. We
So-
want, so, okay, I see. You have current phase, send email 1, send email dates.
So, yeah, so
Okay.
I've got like. So send email 1, and then when you, so I would assume you would put in the word, say send would be my trigger.
Or
and
you
then-
could have a checkbox.
There's checkbox.
Like
And
that?
then when it does send it, it would put
Mhm.
the date that it sent it in the next field.
Okay, so this is where we'd have,
So it would put that date when the check mark appears, correct?
yeah, so last modified time, when call date. No, when send email for 1. Okay,
Right.
so then we want to make sure that you are looking up the person's email and first name at least. So whoever you're contacting from here, we need a point person. So first name, we're going to look up their first name from contact 1, contact 2. There's 2 contacts in here. I'm gonna assume contact 1.
Okay,
Do you want me to include contact 2 as a CC?
no,
Okay, so we got a name and we need their email, and then we can make the automations. Email, look up their email, email. Let me know if that's wrong. Email 1. Now we go to automations. And this is where you're going to send email 1. When record matches a condition in the limo company, nope, in the contact diary table. When sends email, send email 1 is checks. And that's all we really need here. But what's going on? We can delete that. Choose record, 1 exists because we're testing. This is where, oh, your email, your Gmail, wherever you want to send from, you can select. So do you have Gmail?
I do. Now I have 3 different emails I'm gonna use to send them with.
We can have all 3 integrated.
But Gmail, they're 2, I think they're GoDaddy ones, which I don't know if they're Gmails or not.
Well, here we have options for Gmail and Outlook. And Clearbit. So I believe Clearbit is an integration where you can use any other types of business
So
emails.
that's the one by Enrichment Company by Domain.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think if you have a GoDaddy that's not Gmail or Outlook, that's probably what you'll use. Let's see, Airtable, email, automation, not Gmail. You can also send, I would advise against it, but you can send an email like this as well, but it will come from Airtable. So
no.
actually, let's forget that. We want to make sure it's tied to an email. But essentially, you'll pick something and then simply connect to your account. So as an example, it looks like as a collaborator, I can also send emails from one of my accounts. And you'll see here, I can, in one database, I can send from all sorts of emails. But essentially, you're going to start, this is where you add the 2 fields. So the email, just the value. Add a subject line. It could be static, it could be dynamic, but this could just be.
Just put test subject.
Okay, test subject.
That's fine.
And this is where you start typing out your email. So hello. And then we added their first name so that we could use it precisely for this. I don't know why that's happening. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hey. Hello, whatever you prefer. First name. So if you do it like this, where you've sent email 1, some email 2, then with email 2, you could say that you're following up. So the copy can be a little different. If you add things like links, then you're going to.
Yeah, so these are all stored inside here.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then people just email you. You'll get emails into your inbox when they respond.
Okay, so it's the 2 is up top that we built. The subject would stay the same, and then I would type. And if I wanted to put a link into my website, I would just type in the link here, right?
Yes, so
they-
you can format it pretty, so you can say here is the link. And then right beside with no space, you put in a link. So let's generate a preview. So here's the link. So that's how you hyperlink. And there's other HTML formatting. You
okay.
can add a
Oh.
little star like that, make a bullet. You can add some HTML, so like H1.
So the what's H1?
It's heading 1. So
Oh, okay, I remember
Oh.
seeing those when I was looking at. So when you say the word here, your link has to be. So, okay, there's the square brackets, right? Here, around here,
square brackets.
and then the round bracket has to be right beside it.
Yes, no space.
Okay. No
Wow.
space.
It's tripping me out. This should be okay. So if there's a hyperlink, you can't make it a subject line. But you'll see 8, that's heading 3. So now if I do heading, if you want to just structure your emails with different types of text, you can add things like this. You could add, this is italics. Just let me know if you need certain formatting. But this one I'd say is the most important to know. And then I just want to point out, if we send email to, I'm going to duplicate this, call this send email to. Send email to. So we want to make sure, just for safety, I would like to make sure that send email to, oh, we don't have send email to checkbox yet. I want to say when send email 1 is checked and send email 2 is not checked and send email 3 is not checked, just to make sure. And then with this one, we're going to make sure that send email 1 is checked and send email 2 is checked, but send email 3 and 4 are not checked. Does that make sense?
Okay. So
And
make sure that, okay.
that way, we don't want to send email just in case you click send email 2, even though you've only you haven't sent an email 1. You want to make sure that they're getting an email that doesn't say I'm just following up again.
Okay.
So because you're building your own automations, this is where people prefer to just pay for all-in-one solutions that where they think of this for you, but just to have those granular walls up.
All right. Well, I've got like 10 Gmail email accounts that I use for my testing of my database. So I can use all those for testing of all these emails going out. So I can put an attachment. I have, here, we'll go back one step. So some of these things that I would be sending out, I want to send a receipt.
Mhm.
Within that little screen there, I can build a receipt within that screen, or if I wanted an attachment.
So it's a receipt. Are there any links in the receipt? Do you want their name? How intricate is this receipt? What's involved?
It would get, basically, I just pull all the company information and then the date that they paid, the amount that they paid, and for the year that they, so all the information's, all the fields are in the database.
Yeah.
And basically I can just make my own form sort of thing as an email. Or what about is it cleaner with an attachment and then they can save that as they got the receipt for their accountant?
We're not talking about email 1, right? We're talking about after they've agreed.
This is a different
Okay.
purpose.
Yeah, so you can do attachments, links. it doesn't really matter. I'm just wondering, there's contracts, there's invoices, there's creating a customer
So,
in.
so like when you sent me the contract,
Mhm,
that was all coming out of Airtable, right?
yes. So I can actually show you. Oh, are we still on my screen? You can see
Yeah, I'm
my
still-
purple.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can see your purple.
so projects. I have something called document. Is this right? Where's my? Okay, so create agreement. So this is where essentially I have two different types of agreements. You might just have one. And I'm pulling in the information from my Airtable into this document. And I have two things going on in the background. I have Zapier working for me, and document is where I built the document. And I highly recommend document. The founder sat with me for 2 hours because there was a problem that we couldn't figure out together. Turned out to be really silly, like a spelling mistake. So here, I have a document like this that's totally integrated with Airtable. So integrations, new variable, I already integrated Airtable. And then if I have something called first name in Airtable, then I just want to copy this into different fields here. Name. So whatever you need in this document, you can set up like this. And I'm grabbing my name and the last modified time that we just talked about. So that's automated here. Then I also have, I was actually playing around with this, so it's a little messy, but do you use Zapier, Jason?
I've never used it.
Oh, you're gonna love it. So sign now, I have this workflow in here. Line onboarding. This is my account, right? Yes. So there's another thing, because with document, there's no way to pay. I also want the installment price or the deposit or whatever it is to be added here. So you're using Stripe, so you might want to use something similar to this, but I'm saying if my document has been created, if I've clicked this button and this document has appeared in this field, right? So create document, I've created an automation to have the fill in the blanks here. Oh, but I turned off my Zap, which is why it's not showing up here. So when something exists here, then I'm going to upload the document to sign now. And that's because you'll see here, I have this funny text. And this is code that the sign now know to add a sign field here and let the person also type in their date here. So that's this, right? So now I've created the contract. Then I'm creating a customer in Stripe. So here I'm saying add their name, add their billing address, add the currency. If you're international, then there might be USD and Canadian. And that's why I was playing around with this, because I sent you a contract in USD and thought I should really change this. So you can actually say this customer takes USD if that's an issue for you. So this is where you're automating, creating the customer in Stripe. And you use Stripe, but there's others. There's Wayback, there's QuickBooks. You can automate that as well. Then I'm creating a product. You might have one product because you have an app with a flat fee and it's you have 1 to 3 products already. You're not making custom things for every single person. So maybe you can skip this and create price. Here, I'm just pulling essentially the price of what I agreed with my clients, and then create payment link. So this is where I'm I'm going back to previous steps. So in this, basically like this whole journey, I created a customer, created a product, all the stuff from the Airtable, from my Airtable data, creating a price. And what is this? Creating a payment link with that price. And now I can test this data and get a payment link. And because I'm still in one flow, where the beginning of this journey started with Airtable, I can then update my Airtable to have this link. And that way, that link can go back to Airtable. Then I can send an email to be like, okay, I've prepared our contract and here's the link for you to pay. So all of this can be automated and you don't ever need to type out someone's contact information in Stripe ever again. So that's a possibility as one workflow. You might have proposals, you might do payment before contracts. Everyone's a little different, but for me, it's like contracts and then Stripe and then email.
I'm gonna be probably as simple as you. It just be, I mean, I'll have a table with all my pricing in it, and it's based on number of vehicles. So when we put in the number of vehicles, it'll just can link to the price that it pulls in from the company data. So that part is all right.
And I saw, do you have an extra 20 minutes? Do you want to go for the 2-hour mark? Or do you want to wrap it up and catch up another time? Because I'm good for another 20 minutes.
I'm okay for 20 more minutes.
Okay. So I saw you also were interested in creating a referral program. And similar to what I just showed you, it's going to be easy with Stripe with something called Tap Affiliate and Airtable to automatically add people to your referral program where they're just their contact details are added. They get a link to sign up. So there's lots of things you can do to just onboard them really quickly with that as well. And I'd say Tap Affiliate, there's all sorts of referral programs, but that's just one that integrates, it happens to integrate with Stripe and Zapier and Airtable.
Okay, because what I have is in the app that I built, if someone wants to refer somebody, I have a link in there and they just tap on the link, put the person's email in. And then I've got the email actually coming to me. And then using this Airtable, all I would have to do is go in and click on it and it would send it saying you were referred by, because that's what my LB referrals is. So if you go to LB referrals, I think I filled the first one out. So
I see one.
yeah, okay. So if you go back to the left, so corporate livery services referred First Comfort. So if you go farther over, so they referred that one there.
I see.
And then I can keep track of how many they refer, because if you refer somebody and they stay a member, they get 10% off of the referred company's percentage.
So you're getting an email automatically, and then you're manually linking them in here. And then you go into the app and create a discount.
No, what I was thinking of doing, see, I haven't got that far yet. Like, if that email comes in, I don't know if I could pull that email in and automatically update my Airtable, or do I have to go and do it manually?
It depends on if the data it's spelled the same. We can scrape emails with subject line, referral has come in, and if referrer has the same name as someone here, then add them
Yeah, because
here.
and then
So,
some of
yeah.
them will be emails that I don't have, which is cool because then I don't have to look them up. Someone's giving them to me. But I'm thinking maybe until I get good at it, I'll just have to do it manually. And then my plan is at the end of a month, I was just going to rebate, give them back 10% as a lump sum. So I wasn't going to take 10% off their monthly fees. Everybody was going to always pay every month. And then whatever your total for your referral fee is, I'd send you that 10%. I still haven't decided if I'm doing 10% of what you pay or what 10% of the company you referred me to.
Hmm.
Because you could be one of the companies that only pays $79 a month. And if you refer me $179, do I give you $17 or I give you $1 or I give you $7.90? I prefer the cheaper one.
I would argue to go big, to incentivize people to
And
want to refer, because
it really doesn't matter really in the long run. I like going, I think it should be 10% of whatever they brought in.
yeah, I think commission, and then it is more money, but it incentivizes them to keep promoting as you keep charging more and more, and they will stay in because they're grandfathered at these lower prices. But I've done lots of collaborations and find that some people are not motivated by $5, even $50 in commissions, and will only do collaborations with bigger fees. But
Well, but my fee is so small. You have to do it it becomes valuable if you bring in multiple people. If you bring in 10 people, then your subscription should be free.
mhm,
Because you like I'm not in like your rate is much higher than mine, but mine's a monthly fee. So at the end of the year, all right. Okay. You were going to show me something. I interrupted you.
oh, I was just saying, when it comes to your affiliate program, you
Mhm.
can automate this in the future, where it's just a automated payout at the end of the month. And once they're no longer a member, once they're the person they referred is no longer a member, you have it automated so they no longer get those commissions for that person. I think that's
So
a down the road problem,
yeah,
but
it
it's
is. Like, can I, when you were talking about like interfacing with other things, and you said Stripe, I was looking at, so if this company called Corporate Livery Services
Yep.
paid in January, then they paid in February, could that come from Stripe and add a record to that and say when they paid?
yeah. So I would do another table with just Stripe transactions.
And that
And
I didn't import it, but I did start to build one in that one that spreadsheet I sent you yesterday. But if you go ahead and create one, don't use my template.
create a table.
Yeah, you're gonna like you could
Oh,
actually,
yeah. So we'd have Stripe transactions.
okay.
And this is where you'd have something like a Zap, because Airtable, these are the native automations in Airtable. What you see is what you get. And if it doesn't show up here, that's where we need to use external tools. Zapier, super user-friendly automation aggregator. So let's just pretend to create a new Zap in my account. So new Zap, and then you'd say Stripe. And then whenever we have a new payment. So we'd have a new payment. Now, first, you're probably the last payment, so we're going to test this out on you. So we're going to look for the newest payment. We have something in Canadian. Oh, this is me testing it out on myself. Okay. And then we would actually, the first thing we do is find a record in Airtable where the company name, the email, or something is similar to.
Something, you gotta find something that matches.
Yeah, and that way, so first we just find record. And then we're going to do Airtable again. So we're going to find a record in contacts. Then we're going to update a record in transactions, and then just automatically link the row with the new transaction to the contacts in the contacts table. And then you can start looking up the amount that each person has paid with you. So that's how you would set this up. And then you could have all your Stripe information, billing, currency, tax information, all of it can be added here to your Airtable using Zapier. So we can definitely set that up, and that will save you some time with bookkeeping at the end of the year too.
Okay, so I'm just doing a calculation here, 200 times 12. Okay, so if I had 200 clients and they're paying, I would get, well, that would, well, the 200
100 times 12.
So every month I would get 2,400 new records, right?
Yes.
No. I get 200 records every month. I get one payment per company, so that's 200 records per month, right? If I had 200 companies?
200 companies times 12 months. 200 companies, you'd have
That's
200 records
24.
a month because
Right, so that'd be 2,400 records.
Yes.
So if I have 1,000 customers, it's not going to take long to get up to 50,000. Is it possible to make like a multi-field and just say in 2022, I got payments in each of the months, and then there'd be a record for that company for the next year, so that I wouldn't, each year would be one record for a company versus having each month as a company record. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so we could probably create an automation to have a summary. So have all the records come in, then have another table with the weekly summary information or something like that.
And then
Yeah.
and then I would calculate referrals, and then how much I sent back to them on a referral on a monthly basis, but keep it all on one record for a whole year versus having a record for each one of those, because that'll just kill the database quickly.
Yeah. The other option is to rebuild this on Smart Suite, where you have.
That's not something we're going to do right away, but I'm just kind of asking if that's possible to keep my thoughts on that for the future.
Yeah, that's a good question. 50,000 records. I'm not really sure. I have so much data in some of my databases that I don't know.
Well, I'm sure I'll learn as I go here.
I have a feeling. Am I on enterprise? I have a feeling that I have more than 50,000 records in different databases. But we could also create a separate database for transactions and then just sync it. And so you can have auto sync databases. And then you can pull and look up information from that database without having all your Stripe information in the same database as your contact information.
Okay, that makes sense.
But, and I know it says here that you get a limited number of records per solution, but I did just speak to SmartSuite, to some of the people who work there, and they said it's unlimited. They said that is one of their competitive edges to Airtable. So I wonder if that's true. And they just say this I don't know. I should confirm with them if this is 200 actually or unlimited.
Okay, then.
And they're great. So we can build on Airtable, and if and when you're ready to switch to SmartSuite, they're gonna help you get your information on there.
Oh, that's the new one you're looking at.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it-
SmartSuite.
And would SmartSuite have a conversion to convert your Airtable over? Or we have
They
to?
have, so sort of, they will offer you up to 8 hours of consulting if you're switching from Airtable to SmartSuite. And that's because they're adamant to be Airtable's competitor, and they're new, so they have a lot to prove. So right now they have engineers waiting to help switch Airtable users onto SmartSuite.
All right, well, we'll have a look at that. First, let's get Airtable to work for my thing here. I'm kind of in a quandary right here. I want to get some basics working here.
Mhm. Do you have other questions that you wanted to address today?
Okay, I was able to append records myself. So can I send myself a reminder out of
Mhm.
here?
What kind of reminder?
Well, like I set the date and time that I'm gonna call somebody back.
Yeah.
So it's nice that it's sitting there, but I'm not, I'll probably be somewhere else when I have
Yeah.
to do that.
Okay, so we would add a scheduled time. Select interval type, daily, weekly, whatever is not going to drive you insane. How many times do you want a note to self?
Well, if there's like, what, it's,
Every day?
it'd be a specific, based on like someone said to call them back on this day at this time.
Okay.
So it's not a recurring one. It'd just be, like we put into here a callback date and time.
Mhm.
So when that date and time comes, I need a reminder.
So
There.
someone, let's have a callback view. So callback is not empty, and callback date is not in the past, is on or after today. So we're not going to give you a note to self about calls you made, callbacks you've already made. So now we have this view where all the information in this table will just show up, and we can condense it. It depends how busy you get. Like if you have a callback 2 months from now and you have 100 other callbacks, we can, just send you the next callbacks for the day or the week. So we can add more filters here. But in any case, we have this view called callback requests. And now on an interval, so just as an example, once a week on Sundays, whenever you really want to, we can have, and this is just a note to self. So I'm just going to quickly say Airtable will email you. This is where you add your email. And then you say, call these people back. And this is where we would add a scheduled time. Oh, you know what? There's another step I need to do here. Sends. So I need more information than this.
Add a
Add a, well, we have that already. But I want particular information that okay, so I'm missing a step.
You're missing where the date is, right? This is going to do it. They're going to send me an email every Sunday. And then in there should be all the times I have to call people at.
Yes, but I might need to do it where I might need to create a row that just says Monday, like automate populating the field with the date you want the email. Actually, I'm not sure. I know I've done this before. How the heck have I done this before? Record? No. When record enters a view, well, that is a part of it. So this is in this view. Let's delete that. So I've done this before, but I can't think of the solution. But a different solution is to add the people to a Google Doc or no. How the heck did I do this before? I'm gonna write this down, try to figure this out.
Okay.
Back, no to self. Okay. I get something. Let me look up.
So this wouldn't connect to Calendly or something like that. It would just be an email.
No.
Like it wouldn't come as I couldn't set it up as a text message. It'd have to be an email to myself.
You can text yourself with Twilio. That's one of the automations in here. So we could definitely send you text messages if you wanted, but
So,
your space is limited.
like to me, if I had a text message that come and said, call this company and here's the phone number and who I'm calling.
Right.
At this time,
Right.
for this time. And if I could set it, say an hour before, so I just know, that would be really cool. Cause then there's a record of all these text messages when they come in.
Okay, so in that case, we have a insert one, right? We have a call time. Call. Let's see if this works. Formula. Date add. We're going to do call back dates. And then we're going to try -1 hours. And then make sure we're in the same. That's Pacific,
American Toronto
Toronto.
or EST.
Okay, so does that work? 2:39. So you get a text at 2:39.
Yeah.
So call time. Now we go here, send text when condition in the contact diary. When call back, what did I call it? Call time. Hold on. Call time. Sure. Okay, call time is today. Or I wonder if it would be more safe. I'm just going to write down a little note for myself. Call time is now, then equal now. I kind of would prefer, actually, let's test this, see if it works, but I'd prefer to say if call time equals this, then create another field that says now. And then it's definitely going off now versus today. What does today mean? You know?
Okay.
So today is probably fine, but if not, then we create a now field, and that's fine too. So select Twilio account, you need to have one of those. And now you can text yourself the information. So here's where you just say call, or no, company name, number, phone. So we need to look up the phone number in the company table, bring it here. And then also probably their first name, maybe you want to look up their last name too. So now you're just sending a bit of information to yourself that, just the essential stuff.
Yeah, because then, yeah, okay.
And then you have the 2 number, which would just be your Twilio number or your phone number, but you need a Twilio account. And I believe you get charged 0.0003 cents per text or something. And if you're just texting yourself, then I'd say it's a really good investment. Yeah. And then you just click the number. That's smart. I didn't think of that. That's a really good idea.
And then
I
if
think
the
I'll do
text,
it.
when the text comes in and the phone number's there, all I have to do is tap it. I don't even have to dial it.
Yeah. Why have I not thought of that?
There you
That's
go.
brilliant. So Twilio, it's spelled
Because
like that.
you're not probably very mobile when you're working.
No.
You probably work where you just sit, right? So when your emails come, but I'm driving vehicles, I'm working in a warehouse, and I'm
Yeah.
mobile all the time. So if it goes, oh yeah, I gotta call that guy, and I just hit the button and away I go.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, even though it's way out of my generational comfort zone, of making calls in the new year for a local mom bundle I think I told you about. And I'm gonna have to make a lot of calls. So
They're
I think
hard.
they're hard.
It's cold calling is really hard. I'm getting better
Yeah.
at it, but I went through script after script, and the more I took out of my script, the better it was.
Yeah.
And depending on who I was talking to, some conversations went good and some weren't good. But I got 26 people out of almost 100 I called. So from
That's
the
good.
I have that business coach, Laura Posey. She says you should be scoring about 8 to 10% on phone calls. So I think I was a little bit better off. And really though, I've got a very targeted market, so it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I have to digest everything we've been through. So
Yes.
once I've digested and tried to master some of this stuff, then I'll set another time for what we've got.
Sure. Do you want Yeah, we can set it now, or I could just send you a link and you can set it whenever you want.
Yeah, I'd like to get back to you when I want to set it.
Sure, no problem.
Because
Do you want a 2 hour one? How much time would you like to browse in my calendar?
it'll probably be later on in the week where I'll be looking it up. I've got another project for another business coach I gotta have done for tomorrow night, haven't even started. And then I work overtime every day this week at work. And I worked yesterday morning. So Christmas time is just killing me, and I'm trying to get I want to try and get this my app. I want to try and get my beta testers going this week, but I just took too many things on all at once.
It's
So
it's funny because I gather these are self-inflicted deadlines, right?
oh, they all are.
Yeah.
I'm working all by myself, so everything's self-inflicted.
Yeah, entrepreneurs are very masochistic. It's okay if you need to extend your deadlines.
Have you ever done the Clifton Strengths?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's called the Clifton Gallum, and you answer 100 questions or something, and it comes back and tells you what kind of person you are.
Oh, cool. I'm checking it out now.
So I think it was like $39 to do it or something. But the one business coach said I had to do it in order to use her, and then based
Okay.
on your strengths. So my comeback is futuristic is my top one. So I'm always thinking so far in the future. And the hardest thing is getting the future things done in the daytime. But it's a really cool thing. You can do it and just get your top 5. And then you can read, and it was had the biggest smile on my face when I did it. And then you read what the 5 are, and you think about yourself and you think, there's where I fit in. Like there's like, oh God, 35, 40 categories. So everybody comes out a little bit different. But if you're interested in finding out how you work, because like I have a hard time when I talk to one of my people I'm going to be trying to get them to use my app. They go, no, I'm quite happy. I don't want any more work. I don't need anything else. I'm just satisfied with it. And I'm like, how can you be satisfied without trying to achieve more? Like, why are you not trying to grow? And they're just one of those people that status quo is fine. They don't want to do
Yeah.
anything else. And for me, future, like you always want to build something more and get going bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I have the same pet peeve about I work with my family and my aunts. It's like pulling teeth trying to convince her to use digital ads instead of paper flyer ads.
Yeah.
Even though the proof is there, like the stats are in, and she's like, how do we actually believe that?
They can't comprehend something that has worked for years. They can't comprehend a new way of doing it, right?
Yeah, and that's where it's partially destined not to work, and then partially your ability to have influence people. And that's hard. Sales
Mhm.
calls. I don't envy you for needing to do all these sales calls, but I'm sure it's really helping your personal development.
Well, I have to make these calls, and I'm
Yeah.
making them, and now I got to follow up on them. And I don't know why your timing for when you come to Laura was when you did, but it was the perfect timing because I had a spreadsheet with all my contacts in it. And I took out of that the ones I wanted to call and made another spreadsheet. And then I made another spreadsheet for what was happening during the calls. And then but when I was doing the calls, I was doing them in my truck at work when I stopped. I'd stop and I make a couple of calls and so I had to manually write it down on a piece of paper. Then I got to transfer it into there. And then I got another phase that's coming. I said, holy Christ almighty, how can I keep everything all? And then the emails, that I had to go into my email and then send the email. And then when you come on and you started going, my head just almost exploded because now I can build like all these emails. There, and then I run, like, there's this, that OLOA is the Limousine Association for Ontario, and I'm the administrator. So right now, everybody's paying, so I have to send them a receipt and a new certificate. So I can put the receipt in here, and then when they pay, I can just click, boom, the certificate. I signed your document, so I have to figure out a way to get my certificate and then be able to put the name and the year in. And it looked like I'll use you to help me do that.
Certificate, like a pretty little certificate with
Yeah,
the
so
embroidery.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I just got the PDF sort of thing, and then I
Oh, yeah, we could definitely do that.
use that in Excel. And then I put it on, then I gotta save the file, and then I gotta attach the files when I do the email. And all I really want is to be able to do a little check mark, and it all goes off for me.
Yeah, it looks
So-
like document has a certificate, like they have it formatted pretty.
So but I have the, like, our logo and everything's all on it, so I have to use mine. And then superimpose on top of it, the company name and the year. And as long as we
Okay.
can superimpose it, like I do it in Excel, I just superimpose the name, but I have to type it out by hand every time. And then,
Mm-mm,
so,
not anymore.
so the company name and the date. My receipts, I've got it automated where it'll create them, pull the file, the information in, but I still got to save the file into a PDF format and everything like that. So with this, I'm sure we can create
Oh my God,
create
save
the
you.
attachment and then make it into a PDF and put the two attachments and send them with one check mark. That's
Yeah.
what the goal is.
Yeah, you don't even need the check mark. You could set up other triggers so you don't have to touch the keyboard. But yeah, we're gonna save you.
Well, I do have to record when they do make their payments somewhere. I have to touch the keyboard to say they did pay them. So doing a check mark is
We
easy.
can automate that too. You know,
Oh.
bring in the link from Stripe, last date.
Oh, they don't
you
do
know.
it by Stripe. They pay
Okay.
by like e-transfer, they do PayPal, they'll say,
Okay.
send a check in. It's all remote for me. I don't have anything to do with it. So I just get an email saying this person paid
Okay.
and this is how they paid. And then I have to act upon that.
Gotcha.
But you, with that form that you showed me, when people are signing up for our company or for the association, they fill out the form and then I get emailed the form. But we're going to switch the form to Airtable. And then when they fill out the Airtable, it automatically create a record. And away we go. So I don't have to retype all their information in. I just have to fix it. Some people, it's sad, but we've got a lot of people where they're foreigners that run a limousine company and they can't even type their name correctly in the forms. So like I have to phone them back and say, how do you spell it? Because they'll put it in an email and sometimes they'll spell it 2 or 3 different ways in the same email.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out how they've written their name. So, but that's an easier phone call. But if they put it into the form and it goes in, then yeah, so like if we use one of these forms and that's what they're doing, and there's a company out of Manitoba that actually runs the form, but if I get them to run my form on the website for me, or
Yeah.
even if I can just attach the form myself to the website, and then they're filling it in and it goes straight into my data.
Yeah. So if they're not in your Airtable, they could fill a form, just an easy peasy form. And if they are in your Airtable, then you can, like I have you here, then you can create I created a script here. I don't even know how to explain it, but essentially just pull all of their information, send them this form. So I could send you a form. I could just hide your name field. So you don't type in your name or address. I have it all. Just fill in this stuff, whatever, whatever else is needed. And it's just going to link to the right person. So your name field, I could hide it, just send you a form. And
Right, and then
in the background, it's already linked to you.
And then like some of these people would be brand new. I wouldn't have I could have their information or I might not, depending on some of my research. Some of my research has them. But then what happens is I'll pull them out of the internet. And they'll have an address that was 6 years old, and they've moved since then, and they give me the new address in it. So sometimes there's a bit of filtering you have to do when you do get the information, and then
Okay.
they change the names of their company sometimes, like they didn't pay all their taxes. So now they call themselves AJ Limo instead of, Airway Limo. So it's amazing how business people move things around, and I gotta try and track. So that's why if you see when I was in there, I have like previous name, the dates that they changed their names. Because sometimes guys will say, well, I've been with you for like 6 years. I've only had your name once, but I was called
Wow.
this, and then before that I was called that.
Wow.
If I keep tracking it all, it makes it easier to figure out, or they'll send me they'll go on and do an e-transfer, but it's their legal name, so it's just an Ontario number. But nowhere in it does it say who the company is. And like, okay, so who is this that just sent us money? I've got like 500 different companies, and how do I figure it out? So I try to save all the incorporated numbers and things like that, so we can do matches on those. So, but anyways, we got lots to do together.
Yeah.
Let me learn. Let me get good at doing this, and then I'll get right back to you.
Oh, you're already so good compared to most people I work with. It's really nice. We can move really quickly.
All right, then. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Probably supper time for you.
You too.
I will see if my wife needs some help.
Oh, that's nice. My
All right.
partner is definitely just sitting on the couch watching football. I'm not going to help, but all right. This was great. And if you have questions, let me know and I'll send you a link. Oh, let me know as well. Next session, do you want to meet for an hour and a half, 2
Okay.
hours, 3, and I'll send you my calendar.
Okay, then. All right, perfect. Thanks, Jess. Have a
Bye.
great
I'll
night.
see you soon. You
Okay,
too.
bye-bye.
Bye, Jason.